Thank you very much, Kalaris. It is indeed time for our second best-of-3 series of the StarCraft 2 Esports World Cup. It's going to be HeRoMaRinE taking on Lambo in what should be a really close match, Wardy.
It's really exciting, right? Because you got two players who are actually great preparation-based players, always coming up with something cool, and I feel like they're a great match against one another, right? Yes, HeRoMaRinE has the historic edge, the recent edge as well, perhaps. He beat Lambo in the qualifiers for this event, but I think this really is close. I think a 2-1 prediction on the couch was not a bad idea, as we are going to dive into Tokamak to start it all off. In the top right-hand corner, representing Mouse, we've got HeRoMaRinE.
And his opponent all the way in the bottom left, representing the Rebellion, it is Lambo. Very focused. Of course, this is an important match. It is their start of the tournament as well. They do have a double elimination, right? So if they do end up losing, at least they're not immediately eliminated out of the tournament. But this is the type of game that you live up to for not just a few days, but for weeks. You know who you're going to be playing for a little while already. You get to study all of their games. And even though you probably are already very familiar with their playstyles, it will still be very beneficial to at the very least grab some of those replays. Now, Lambo is not really somebody who plays in a lot of online tournaments. You host a ton of events, Wardy. How often does he sign up?
Very rarely, you know. He sometimes he goes through phases, but he's not the every week, every tournament kind of guy. Same for HeRoMaRinE as well, right? Which is kind of interesting. But then HeRoMaRinE streams so much.
Yep.
And
exactly.
Honestly, they've not really kind of shied away from playing and stuff lately. Like, they've not played in everything, but they've both played in different things here and there. So it's kind of been an interesting build-up. I mean, like I say, HeRoMaRinE's always streaming, so he has a lot of information out there. But I think there's definitely a HeRoMaRinE that turns his stream off and goes into the lab and cooks up some strats and figures out what he's going to bring to the Esports World Cup.
Exactly. I also feel like HeRoMaRinE is very aware of what he says while he's streaming and that his opponents might be listening to him because he has strong opinions, like, for example, about the Cyclone, but I would not be surprised at all if we are going to indeed be seeing some of those Cyclones as well, maybe even in this particular series. Either way, for now, it is just going to be a Reaper, nothing out of the ordinary. Forces the little Morphin right there into that Sport Crawler just to save the worker for now. It's actually a very quick third hatchery here for Lambo, and not a whole lot of gas mining.
Yeah, just wants to set up into, you know, mineral heavy opening, get the queens out, get the Zerglings, the drones ready. And yeah, just going to be very slow with that gas, so he is not in any concern at all right now getting that at all. He actually pulled out of gas.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So normally Zergs, they do pull a couple drones out of gas to get the third hatchery going before the Reaper can arrive. That's quite a normal build. In this particular one, you're not even going to get Zergling speed done by the time that 4 Hellions can get to your side of the map. So if HeRoMaRinE decides to be aggressive, even if it's just like a Reaper of 4 Hellions, it can really hurt. Instead though, Lambo is delaying Zergling speed probably until much later as he's favoring a fast Roach Warren. And we've been seeing this a lot over the last few months. Zerg players that are very much so relying on those Roaches as sort of like a stepping stone. It seems like Roaches into like a very fast Hive with Ultras, and then a transition to like Ultra Ling Bane is quite popular right now. But again, these players have had time to prepare. Obviously, Ultras are a very long way off at this stage in the game, but maybe that's what Lambo is cooking up here.
It is weird to play gasless, only you have a gas, which
Yes.
is essentially what he's done. And look at HeRoMaRinE with the fusion core.
Oh.
We have got preparations made, and love that. Morphs the lava into a drone so it doesn't die to the Hellions. And HeRoMaRiNE's going to be respectful, backing it up.
Does it have to be for Battlecruiser? It's very odd to be seeing a fusion core at this stage in the game. Okay, it's going to be a Banshee for the time being. The problem with Battlecruisers is that they're extremely expensive and they take a long time to build. So he's faking the cloaking upgrade there for the Banshees, cancels the Banshee, and then I guess he's saving up. This has to be a Battlecruiser rush.
It has to be a BC opening, yes. Good fake as well, because Lambo hard commits that Overlord. He's like, I want to know if you're playing mech right now. Like, he wants that info, right?
Huh.
So you try and deny that as much as possible. So you do see the Queen's doing a good job zoning. Will not get the Reaper, but stops the Hellions from dealing serious damage. Lair on the way.
There it is.
Yeah, there's the Battlecruiser. And you know, I mean, it's kind of interesting because you should have a lot of Queens here as Lambo. And they're going to have to stand up strong against this. He actually has 5. He could do with an extra round of Queen starting ASAP. He just doesn't know what's going on.
Exactly. Now, he is likely going to be forcing out Spore Crawlers with that fake Banshee. So there it is. Indeed, a Spore Crawler does start up. It is a Battlecruiser into mech. Now, the man's name is literally HeRoMaRinE, but we're not going to be seeing a whole lot of those. At least in the opening match for this best of 3. I am loving what HeRoMaRinE has got prepared, but I'm really curious to see what the Battlecruiser is going to do. He starts up the weapon refit upgrade, that is the Yamato cannon research. You rarely get that if you're planning on going for just a single BC.
No way.
This has to be multiple.
It's going to be probably the 3. It's like, you basically force the Zerg to build Corruptors, and it's very powerful because if the Zerg builds Corruptors, he's going to get a good scout with the Ling. If you force the Zerg to build Corruptors, it's a part of their army that has to be kept the entire time. As now we get let in, we see the factories. That's all we're going to see.
I wonder if seeing the starport in production here is enough though with a tech lab on it as well. Either way, the Battlecruiser is out. He decides to teleport it all the way to the bottom left-hand corner of the opponent's bases. Queens are in position and there is a Spore Crawler too. Battlecruisers are strong. They mostly have a lot of HP, but yeah, he's trying to just harass the opponent at this stage. And keep in mind, Lambo does have a Laridon. He needs to Spire ASAP, and there it starts.
Yep, Spire starting up. I mean, that's just going to be the response to this. Roger's obviously out will help against the mech-based follow-up of this, so that part of the game from Lambo was absolutely the correct call. BC will come back in. We'll get a Queen. It's concerning because these Queens do not have energy to transfuse right now, so that is going to be the Queens in a bit of trouble. Overload up for grabs there as well. This turned into a good bit of damage. Again, you need these BCs to stay alive and active. As the drones are now going to be exposed, and Lambo is going to lose a ton of them. Yeah,
and this is way more scary, actually, than the Battlecruiser going into BC. Mostly just a distraction, as the Hellions are now diving deep. The Cyclones are starting up on the back of this as well. Now the Yamato gun will be available as well for the Battlecruiser, although it's at too low of an HP count. You should really not be skirting it around the edge of the creep there. Yeah, just send it all the way back home, please. The second Battlecruiser just spawned too. I think we're going to be seeing them move around together. Now, in general, this type of Terran opener is quite slow. With the Terran bio approach, with the Marines and the Marauders, you push continuously. You can do a similar thing as well with this type of battle mech army, but it's much more difficult to reliably pull off. So Lambo is going to be able to quite easily replace all of the lost workers.
Yep, as you all can see from Lambo's point of view right now, him having a Battlecruiser approaching, obviously Queen's coming through. He does have the Spire up, and I imagine Corruptors are currently in production, but it's all about not overbuilding those Corruptors. You need enough to withstand the Yamatos and to still be okay at pushing these back, so that you can't overbuild them so you have no response to a mech ground-based push. Lambo has a shot in this game. He needs to really balance perfectly the units that he makes.
What will be difficult for Lambo is getting a fifth base going. In general, it's not super straightforward on this map. He's going to try and take the one in the bottom right, but it's quite harassable, and he doesn't have a lot of creep in that bottom right-hand section of the map. So for now, he's mostly just concerned, trying to stay alive here. I'm certainly not disliking this position for Lambo much, though. It's a tough spot to be in, but I feel like he's got a very real shot at holding this next big incoming attack from the Terran.
It's like the best situation you can be if you've lost like 20 drones.
Exactly, yes.
You know, it's he's going to get the BC here. That did not teleport in time, right? So that's going to go down. Second one teleports away. Now those Corruptors can go hunting. We are going to lose more drones here as the Hellions just run in. That is the real shame of this, because getting rid of a BC is huge, and you can see HeRoMaRiNE's economy is booming. 80 workers, kills 12 drones. Lambo just needs to be better about those Hellions running by. If he stops that, then that would be huge.
Yeah, in a very strange way now, it feels like HeRoMaRiNE is the one trying to swarm the opponent, right? Usually it's the Zerg player who has that approach, but Lambo going for the more methodical, the more slow-moving army here, at least relative to what Zerg players can build, whereas HeRoMaRiNE has a very active force and a very large economy. And I think that indeed is the scary part. Right now, there is a big tech advantage here for HeRoMaRiNE, who's turtling up really nicely. There's siege tanks out already, tons of missile turrets too, making it pretty much impossible for those Corruptors to dive onto the Battlecruisers that are still around.
Yeah, not really a situation where you want to do much here as Lambo in terms of committing in, but hey, piling from a distance is absolutely fine. A missile turret goes down. We take what we can get. He's going to swing to the right side and just force this army to keep on relocating and just find the little chips of damage he can do. Supply blocks here bring with those two depots falling, so again, it's the little things that up, and that's actually a pretty major supply block, heavy block for HeRoMaRiNE to get out of.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Difficult, though, here for Lambo to actually commit. I don't think he wants to do it, although maybe I spoke too soon. 23 Banelings are coming in, Wardy. Does he have enough to overwhelm this? How many siege tanks are there? I've only seen about 2.
Yeah, he's only got 3. He's very Cyclone heavy, so if the Banes can actually just get forward and threaten that mineral line effectively, That could be huge. He's got even more finishing. There's 30 in production. At one point, he's going to dive onto the health bats quickly. BCs start to teleport away. The Corruptors do their thing, and the Banes are going to go for that mineral line, but the Cyclones going to do some work. The tank shots were good as well. Oh, the SCVs in the corner are super low. There's more Banelings looking for them, and they are going to get there. So SCVs going down. HeRoMaRinE in general does not have enough to hang on, and Lambo's counter-attack busts through after taking all the damage. Does serious work.
Yeah, and this is going to knock HeRoMaRinE all the way back to his starting corner. The third base is going to stay alive for now, but he lost so much army, and this is going to give Lambo all the opportunity to do whatever he likes, and apparently what he likes is to do more of the same. He is just holding down the Roach and the Zerking button, trying his very best to send them in. A couple nicely placed corrosive biles as well. He's going to use the caustic spray ability from those Corruptors too to try and see if he can kill the command center. Even after it escaped, and these units deal serious damage. The SCVs cannot repair it. He decides to run away and just sustain them. I think that was on purpose. Lambo could have probably had it. He decides to not take the risk, but look at the supply count right now. This is a massive advantage, and at this point, the floodgates are open. Zerk can just run more and more units across the map.
It makes sense keeping those Corruptors alive because he wants to stop the rebuild of anything out the starport, right? And he doesn't want to have to build new Corruptors to keep that threat away. So yeah, I like that he kind of kept them alive and just pulled them back, even if in the moment it's like, no, you could have had it. Yep. He's just going to bust through the natural. Those Cyclones are chasing the Corruptors into the main base, which just leaves the natural completely wide open. The Cyclones turn around, but it is a Baneling explosion in the natural. GG. Lambo took a bullion in the early game and just brought it back with one major burst and exposing a massive weakness, which was that HeRoMaRinE was not set up. He was not ready. He was not powered up at all.
Keep in mind that HeRoMaRinE, right before that big counterattack, lost one of the battle cruisers, right? And I feel like that really enabled this type of attack. Also, like, we did see a lot of drones going down, but it wasn't free for HeRoMaRinE at all. HeRoMaRinE was like a minute away from being pretty safe, and I think Lambo hit his opponent right at the perfect time. He kind of looked like he was ready to go back home. He feigned that retreat, but then decided to come out swinging with a massive Baneling transition there. It's a super costly approach there from the Zerg, but I think Lambo honestly managed that really well.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he stayed calm as well when it was going wrong, right? Like, you know, there was losing a lot of drones, and he just said, okay, but I have the units I already need. Let's just hold down the drone key so that when I come out of this, yeah, I'm not ahead on drones, but I'm not behind on drones, right? So he really was able to get into the unit production. It was very Cyclone heavy without those Cyclones ever having anything to say on the map, right? Like, there's a bunch of Cyclones and they were still at home, which is exactly what you want. You take away the power of the Cyclones when they have to stand and fight rather than kite away the entire time. So, great job by Lambo, putting HeRoMaRinE in a tough position. I mean, if there was a few more siege tanks there, that's not an attack you can really make at all. Very nicely done, and it lines up with a 1-0 lead heading into a Game 2 in the next few moments.
You're absolutely right, though. Those Cyclones, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about them, right? Are they too strong? Are they too powerful? Have pro gamers been hiding build orders just to, like, not showcase the strength of them in online tournaments? But then in this particular game, they did nothing, right? They just kind of stood there, and obviously they traded a little bit, but it was by no means cost-effective to go Cyclones.
That's why you don't go BCs, because BCs are such an investment, whereas if you go like the Speed Banshees, they have that kind of similar vibe, and they do a lot with the Cyclones as well, so it feels like the follow-up hits a lot nicer there.
You're right.
So I think there is something to maybe just be, maybe we look at the BCs and we point the finger at them as we get into a game number 2. Down a map, in the bottom right-hand side, representing Mouse, we have HeRoMaRinE.
And his opponent in the top right-hand corner. He's 1-0 up. We have Lambo. You know what? When he wins this tournament, if he wins the tournament, he can buy one.
Yeah. Wouldn't be a shame if he won and all those shirts he brought to join the desk go to no use.
That would be incredible.
That would be absolutely ridiculous. That would be the run of a lifetime. Of course, it's just the play-ins, man. There's a long road ahead of us here. We've got the play-ins to start us off today. We're going to delve into the main tournament later once we figure out which 2 players advance from here. It is an exciting day of StarCraft 2. We've been waiting so long for this tournament to come upon us. And there's always something special about the World Championship, right? Because this is the moment of the year everyone is in shape. Everyone is playing their best StarCraft 2. You know, the level is really up there that you don't get to see the rest of the year because no one else is always in this good shape at the same time. So, exciting week.
I feel like in that previous game, Lambo really did look strong, right? The main mistake he made, and obviously this is like very significant, but he lost a bunch of drones. That really did make his game a lot more difficult. Imagine, though, if in that previous game he did not lose those workers. That would have been extremely dominant. Either way, HeRoMaRinE here scouting, and he does spot that the opponent had already mined out in those skinny golden mineral fields. Lambo's base is going to get blocked for a little bit. In general, you have a couple of third base options on this map, but the nice thing about this particular one is that it makes taking that gold base so much easier. I love this bunker block, though. He gets a drone, and I think he's going to cancel the bunker. There we go. Excellent start here for our German Terran.
Yeah, Lambo will decide what to do about this. Couple of Lings going to head across the map. The Queens are going to wander over to try and push this Reaper away and to take this hatchery, so...
It slows everything down so much, though. I love the grenade. Perfect grenade right there for HeRoMaRinE. Look, his only goal is to try and slow down the Zerg. And this Reaper, it's achieved all of that and then some. Oh, he's not done.
He's not done at all. Yeah, blocks. Yeah. Oh! That would have been so bad as well, because you're already delayed, being delayed even further because of the Reaper blocking you, and then killing the drone. New drone has to run over. That really would suck. So this was a very well played early game out of HeRoMaRinE.
He wants to Reaper it again. Yeah. Oh, there we go. You're never going to get back to creep at this point. And you know what? This does delay that creep tumor for a while, so not bad. I still don't mind this situation here for HeRoMaRinE at all. As Lambo, by the way, is once more delaying the Zergling speed in favor of a fast Roach Warren.
I don't hate it, right? The weakest thing you're probably playing against, the weakest you are right now is if you play against mech. People struggle. So I don't hate if we play like a good opening versus mech. That can also be used against bio. Like, do you want roaches for the full game against a bio army? No. But can you transition from roaches to like Lingbane Ravager? Absolutely. So I think if you go in with that approach in this current meta where we're expecting Cyclones, we're expecting mech, I don't think it's a bad approach at all. Lambo gets that leg going, and on this map too, I feel like there's also a potential to be aggressive too with the roaches, because it's not super difficult to run down the map and overwhelm your opponent and hit it at good timing, so...
Yeah, we've even seen like 1-1 roach speed, like the oldest Zerg timing attack in the book. The ones that used to work back in Wings of Liberty. They have sort of come back again with this particular start of the Zergs. Look at the quick double Evo chamber and the Lair on the back of this as well. It's important for HeRoMaRinE to try and slow this down. Now, he's not opening up in a very conventional way. Yeah, he does have the triple command center, but he's doing a quick Marine drop on the back of this. Usually it's up to, well, for example, Banshees, maybe a Liberator, or even a Battlecruiser like what we saw in the previous game, but a Marine drop does feel a little bit weird.
Yeah, it's just the lack of Hellions, right? It's like, where's all the usual things that we build? And they're just not being built here, which against the Roach opener might actually be kind of nice. So Marines into the main base. Roaches are immobile. They do not move around quickly. So, and one Roach popping out ain't going to do much. It has to pull back. So we have the Reaper going to try and join in as well. Pull away is HeRoMaRinE, but the kind of stage is set, right, where HeRoMaRine's going to try and get some work done. He is out on the Reaper in the picture-in-picture doing work, by the way, but Lambo is protecting his drones with the morphs. And I like what HeRoMaRine's doing, though, keeping Lambo busy, making it difficult. Lambo just starts 1-1, and I can only imagine we go Roach speed, and I really feel like he's going to try the 1-1 Roach speed attack. Like, I feel like there's good potential, and yeah, I don't hate it.
There it is. So those three upgrades on the production tab for the Zerg will finish up right around the same time. It's not going to be perfectly lined up. HeRoMaRinE sees it coming, though. But the thing is, we very frequently see +1 melee here rather than +1 missile. HeRoMaRinE just sees that the structures are wiggling. He knows that something's researching, but he doesn't know exactly what is researching inside of those structures. They're actually expanding in the direction as well. HeRoMaRinE, that is. He's expanding in the direction of Lambo. So this map is suddenly going to feel much smaller as both players are effectively becoming neighbors.
Yep, we're going to knock down the rocks, give us some better position to move on through with, and, that's the thing. The rocks open up on their own accord, right? Because they die over time, so about 7:30, they will disappear. And as we have the Roaches stepping forward, Roach speed done soon. Lambo did cut just beyond that 3 base saturation kind of setup with work accounts, so that's all looking good, but HeRoMaRinE has been building Marines from the get-go. Tank production's coming through, and he will at the very least have stim for this attack, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So let's see.
He should be able to finish it up in time. I wonder if he's expecting it, because this is one of those builds that when you first start learning Zerg, right? Like this is like baby's first Zerg build order, right? Like this is the type of thing you begin with. He sees a lot of roaches, but roaches are quite common right now. Roaches into like Ravager Lingbane or roaches into Ultras, we see all of that against Bio all of the time. This is just straight up mass Roach Ravager. HeRoMaRinE right now sees that something is just a little bit fishy. But my question is, can he stop the swarm?
Yep, this is definitely the moment, right? Because Lambo's going to have a whole lot more. He's going to aim to bile down the bunkers in the front and then try to get in range to bile the siege tanks.
He's doing two different fights at the same time. He's using half of his army to try and break open the neutral, whereas the other half is very disconnected, maybe trying to pull these units away so he can overwhelm the siege tanks in the bunker. And that's exactly what goes on here. He needs to be careful though. Roach is in the natural expansion, jumping back up there. HeRoMaRinE using Stimpack, but it's so costly.
No, this was absolutely beautiful, man. He got on top of the tanks, no problem at all. Bunker went down. He completely negated the defense, and Lambo smashes HeRoMaRinE in the opening series for himself. That was absolutely beautiful.
Both players clearly prepared for what the opponent could bring, but Lambo there countering HeRoMaRinE brilliantly. Not just in this second game, but also in the first one. What a phenomenal performance there by the German Zerg.
Wow, you know, you could see on his face as well when he won. Like, that meant a lot, just getting that first win already. And, you know, he is prepped. He's shown us what he's bringing. It was a good build for the map. It hit at the right time. And I love the split, right? Because this dive is so important. Being able to get rid of the tanks in the bunker, all of this defense is now completely negated just because some roaches on the left side pulled the Marines away. HeRoMaRinE walked right into it. Lambo won the game with it.
That bile as well, just perfectly hitting 4 Marines all at the same time. Phenomenal performance right here by Lambo. Not a lot of people would have necessarily picked him as, well, the favorite going into this best of 3, but he gets the job done.
That preparation mode Lambo, man, showing up a little bit. Very happy for him because, you know, as Roddy was saying on the desk at the start as well, like, you know, I think he really, you know, looks to believe that he can do well in a tournament like this. You don't get that chance a lot, and being able to come in and look so convincing in what I would say is, to me, one of his rougher matchups as well. Impressive stuff. Let's hear from the man himself down on the stage.